as well. Oh, look at that. Typical Craig.
Here comes playing. Oh my word! Absolutely magnificent. Payet. Reed! He rose so high! Touched the sky! 2-1 down! 3-2 up! It's meant to be! It's surely meant to be! It's Liverpool!
Be a long night. Paquetá, he's played it through, and Bowen's in. It's up for grabs now. He's done it.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Hammers Football TV. And it's the aftermath of the Liverpool versus West Ham game. Just going to go over through some of the highlights and obviously some thoughts about the actual game itself and a few other things if time allows us and that. It's not going to be a long one, but we'll go through this anyway. And before I start with anything else, don't forget, if you can, hit the like button. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. Don't cost you nothing to do that. If you also want to share and subscribe and hype the video, as always, it all helps in the algorithms, as they say. Let's say hello to people who's already dropped in so far. Good evening, Aces. Hope you're doing well. City managed to just get away with it. So, they're there and thereabouts. So then, points behind us. So hopefully you're going to get something out of Chelsea tomorrow, mate. Jeff, good evening, mate. Evening, Hammers. Evening to yourself as well, Jeff. And good afternoon to Lexington Lawrence from Kentucky. Come on, you Irons. Hope you're doing well, Larry, and everything's all good. And also Jeff saying like Aces and Larry. Aces says, James was saying that this club drives him to drink. Just so happens, so have I as well, my friend, just to kind of, soothe the evening away. And everyone saying hello to each other, which is always nice kind of thing. As we already know, it wasn't going to be an easy game going to Anfield. I think the last time looking at that, it was the 29th of August, 2015, when we managed to beat them 3-0. And I think if I remember rightly, Coutinho got sent off in that game as well. So that just shows you how, a track record we've got out there as well. Good evening, Mr. Cox. Good evening, Steve. Hope you're doing well. Good to see you as well, my friend. Evening, Tony in chat. Crazy afternoon. I mean, there's some, goals galore for this weekend. For a Saturday in the Premier League, there was goals galore, and unfortunately, we was the adjudicator of 5 of those at least. Good evening, Ray. Hey, good to see you as well again. Thank you very much for coming in. Take the edge off Tony. I've got to do say, Jeff, that's for sure. And everyone's saying Lawrence and hello to each other. And apparently, before that, that win in 2015, before my time, but apparently the last time was 63 years ago, or say 1963, shall I say, not 63 years ago, 1963 since the last time we beat there. So we've only won 3 out of these 63 top flight games against Liverpool at Anfield. So it was under no illusions, that's for sure. And I think that for me, it was seeing the actual lineup of the team. I don't think Mads Hermansen was the right choice to go in goal. I think he should have gone with Areola, who's got more experience, who understands these type of games. Hermansen, he's done all right in the last couple of games, but I wouldn't say it's setting the world alight, that's for sure. Lawrence is saying, bizarre match, needs Spuds and Forrest to lose tomorrow. I'm just going to pull this up. I'm just going to go through a few things. So I'm just going to share a screen here just to show you something about the game itself. I don't know if you can see that too well. Let's see if I can maximise that a bit more. But when you look at that, obviously it's showing you here. It was a close game. That was a funny part about it. In the field of play, it was a close game because for me, it was, when you look at the ball possession, strangely enough, we actually win that one. So you can see Liverpool only had 49% possession overall, and we had 51%, which is quite mad, really. But if you look at the shots on, taken, 18 from Liverpool and 11 from West Ham. But of that, both teams were poor in that respect, because on target it was only 7 for Liverpool and 4 for West Ham. So it just shows you how kind of close it was in that respects. Lawrence is saying Liverpool played well, to be fair. We had poor defence and didn't take advantage of their sloppy passing in the back. But also, it also comes down to this as well, for me, Larry, is the fact that when you look at what Liverpool brought on the bench, it far outweighed what we had, and they showed you that basically they had a bit more quality than that's what came onto the pitch. Whereas, don't get me wrong, I think we can all agree that Traore, I don't know why this player has come to us. I don't think he's going to be the player who's going to change things. And if he's going to get fit enough, it'll probably be too late by that point. Big up to Brian CFC. Good to see you. Big up Amateur Football Team always. Big up to you as well, Brian. Hope you're keeping well, mate. And he's also saying big up to everyone in the chat as well. Lawrence saying, 3 goals on 3 set pieces. And and this is the thing. I mean, when you look at the first one, all right, Mavropanos turns his back on the goal. And from there, you can see that it deflects off his leg. And even if Hermanson was going to be there, that you can't counteract that. That's just a freak of nature in that respects. Lawrence is saying we have given up 15 goals over set pieces this year. Yeah, we've set a record on that. So that's one of the history books for the season, that's for sure. So Jeff saying, feels like I'm swimming against the tide on the back of a 5-2 loss, but thought we were decent for large parts of the game. I mean, like as I said, the fact that we've come out with 51% possession against a Liverpool team where, surprisingly, passing-wise, they should outweigh us. I mean, let me have a look if it's got anything there. So it's showing you big chances. Yeah, look, I mean, straight away, look, Liverpool had 10 corner kicks to our 5, passing-wise. So when you look at that, again, there wasn't much in it. So you're looking at 81% from Liverpool and 78% from us. And that's against Liverpool. So it weren't, if you're a Liverpool fan, you can't really, they won the game fair and square. But it wasn't exactly the greatest game from Liverpool. I mean, look at that. I think 323 to 328 and overall 399 to 418. So there wasn't much in that respect. So we was quite even Stevens with a Liverpool team that, when you look at the last season, won the bloody league. But I get what you're saying there, Jeff. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not criticising the way we played. I mean, the first half was poor. I think we can all agree on that one. It's just the fact that we managed to raise it a little bit in the second half. There's some, final third is where we let it down. I think. Let me ask you this question while people in the chat: do you feel he should have stuck with, a 4-2-2? Sorry, 4-4-2. Having 2 up top, because I think when you look at something like that, as shaky as they are at the back with Kanouté and Van Dijk, it's a fact that you can't rely on Tatty to do all the work, and he hasn't really kind of got that in him, I'd say. So let me know your opinion on that as well if you can. Good evening to Ekim. Thank you for coming in. The Anfield bad luck strikes again. Look, it's their gaff at the end of the day. We weren't expecting miracles, and it is a West Ham side that are trying to keep himself in this Premier League. But no, it was going to be a hard. We all know that. As Jeff said, it was like being down to 10 men with Troy coming, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, I understand managers have players they're keen on, but Traore for me, and I agree with what you're saying there, Jeff, it shouldn't be him coming on with, all right, Freddie Potts is going through his suspension at the moment, and obviously Pablo is still kind of trying to get back out of the from his injury. But if he was fit, I'd like to think that Pablo would be starting in that game. Good evening, words and pictures. Good to see you. Herman Munster's goal wasn't the best idea Nuno ever had. Yeah, it wasn't for me. As I said, I think Areola should have stuck and been put in goal for that one. I think the experience tells that in itself. But yeah, I mean, like Zekim's put in here as well. Look, I mean, 2 deflections, an epoxy ref. I mean, yeah, the referee wasn't great. There were certain decisions I think, especially the second half, should have gone our way, and it never came. It never came about, and that's another show in itself. Just talking about how referees are these days. Ekim saying nothing against Hermanson. He wasn't the right choice against big lads at corners. No, and there's especially when you look at the Van Dijk goal as well. I mean, I think he could have done something with that, but his timing is way off on most things. And look, the McAllister goal, hats off. I mean, that was you can't knock that. That was a great goal, hitting it on the volley and sticking in the top left-hand corner for him, and that well taken goal, and to be expected. But again, we could have done a lot more. Good evening, Colin. And he's saying, good evening, Tony. Does it really matter whether we stay up? We're so financially in the red that if we do stay, all the crown jewels will have to be sold. We're still where we are now. Well, the only thing, and I will come on to say, I've got time to put it in there, about Brady and Sullivan, because what was good to see today, you did see the fans that did travel all the way up to Anfield flashing the BS out, and hopefully this is kind of puts more pressure on that. And I think someone said it earlier in the live stream when we was watching the game. We've still got to find out about, and I think you even mentioned it as well, Colin, about Sullivan, because I think something is going to come out. And with the change next season, would that man want to be hanging around where it's not going to go in his favour? And we only hope that she follows behind him at the same time. Jeff saying a few poor moments cost us. Case in point, Aaron Wan-Bissaka backing off Gakpo, which resulted in the 4th goal. And unfortunately, I'd say on this, I don't want to kind of knock Wan-Bissaka because there's certain parts in the game where he did do something. But there's been moments throughout that whole season where he does things like this, and especially when we've got a chance of kind of getting on a counter, and then he passes the ball like he did today and straight into a red player, a red shirt. Tell me, you can't make that crap up after that. Jeff said words, Colin, and everyone salute to each other. Good evening to Simon Jordan, knows everything. People only remember the scoreline, not possession, passes, shots, balls, scratching, etc. No, I've already mentioned it. I mean, like possession-wise, we was in there with them. Passing-wise, we weren't far from that. And this is a Liverpool team of all things. They should have literally passed us off the park, but they didn't. They matched it. We virtually matched them. So in that respects, you can't fault work ethics in that respect. It's just the fact of the final third and the finesse of us is shocking, absolutely shocking. And this is where, as I was mentioned, if you look at what came off the bench from West Ham and what came off the bench for Liverpool, that's where we know full well is our downfall, because we saw that with the poor players that we've signed over the years anyway. Ekim says Nuno didn't pick up that. They put a body on Hermanson at corners. Gomez was so close, you could have sat on Hermanson's knees. And not being funny, that one where, again, they can, I think Hermanson and with Gomez is more concentrating on Gomez rather than where the ball is. And that's not being funny. That's a pro player. At the end of the day, in there, you stick get him. He should be, and this is where he doesn't command the box, Hermanson. For me, I'll be screaming for a defender. Get on this man. Let me do what I've got to do. But there was none of that. Lack of communication, and we saw that as well throughout the game with Fernandes and Somerville. Somerville got in the way in a couple of times of scoring opportunities, and there was one where I think he ended up both players falling on the deck, all because they couldn't talk. They didn't talk to each other, and that's a worrying thing as well. They've been together now for for the season and some for the one before that. So really, there should be more of an understanding. Agree on this, Lawrence. Yep, Magassa didn't impress me today. I think if you look at it, as I said, because if you look on the bench, I mean, look, we had 5 defenders on the bench. Maybe to Debo, and I'm just going to say it, and it probably kind of get people think, what the. But even if you put the Debo in that position just in front of the 4, at least that way, then we kind of keep defensive and looking at it. Because Magassa and that, yeah, he was a bit all over the place today. I agree. He was out of sorts in my eyes. Agree on that, Jeff. Yeah. Jeff says McAllister was well taken goal, but unmarked Katika at back post was alarming. Verdrank beating 3 players for his goal, punished for our poor moment. And that's what's cost us, is the fact of, apart from Gakpo scoring from open play and even the name's in there, the 5th goal, what's his name? I'll have to look because I remember I can see his name on tip of my tongue. But yeah, when you look at things like that, that's what's the defensive thing that's cost us in that respect, and we should. Well, I say we should because that's how it's been all season. It's definitely been there. Well, they classed it as an own goal, didn't they? But yeah, we were just poor in their final third, and we should have, as someone put in there earlier, we should have actually kind of done something with that, considering how flaky they are at the back. Ekim saying, Bissaka and Diouf had a few mistakes today. Yeah, I agree on that. They knew when to do it, and Somerville, they obviously had his number because soon as Somerville was on the ball, they had 3 Liverpool players trying to close him down. I think at one point they even had 4 players trying to close him down. And fair play, because when you think about it, especially the second half, they got us into the corners, and especially the left-hand side, we managed to play the ball out, which was great. That's what you want to see. And this is, like I said, it's a Liverpool team where we was, to be fair, 5 goals could have easily been a few more if we kind of didn't kind of do certain things. And Disasi, apart from the own goal he scored, he blocked quite a few shots today. Yeah, he didn't play well at all, and it's unfortunately I'm seeing a bit of a trend there as well. Sometimes Lawrence is saying I watched the entire match, poor defence, and we couldn't finish, and that sums it up in a nutshell, Larry. I think that's for me typifies how the whole game went. It was definitely a case of that. He keeps saying, yeah, Larry, we had a few games now not clinical enough, and we, maybe if Pablo gets back, then it gives another lift, because when you think about it, at least he gets stuck in. He does put himself about, and I like that. Jeff said, I felt sorry for Disasi. He was unlucky with his own goal. Yeah, I mean, look, it could have not been. What we've got to look at there, Jeff, is where the ball was lost in the first place before it was drilled across the box, and that's where we lose in certain games. We're more looking at what happens straight in front of the defender rather than, hold on, we lost the ball by the halfway line or we lost it by the touch line, and we haven't dealt with that. And Lawrence said I would have put County on for Magassa earlier, and this where we look at Nuno sometimes, and he does make a hash of when he makes decisions with some of his substitutions. Very rare he gets some right. A lot of it, he hadn't got right either. And today, yeah, bringing them on with minutes to go, that wasn't good at all. I mean, just going on the stats again, just to look at that there. So total shots from Liverpool, 18, 11 from us. Like I said, 7 on target from Liverpool, 4 from us, 4 apiece with shots off target. Blocked shots, it's showing 7 for Liverpool and 3 from West Ham. Well, I think there was a few more than that, so I don't think this is correct. Shots inside the box, 13 from Liverpool, 8 from West Ham. outside of the box, 5 from Liverpool, 3 from West Ham. And both there's 2-headed goals there as well. Corner kicks, as I said, there 10 there. So that really kind of sums up how the game panned out. Let me just take that off for the moment. Good evening, Damien. I hope you're keeping well, mate. I saw you giving your comments on James's show and some good shouts you put there as well. Border fucking disgrace. And we know this. I mean, at the end of the day, seeing this money that apparently we're now in deficit of 104 million. Yeah, and how did I think we've got to look at it like this. How did it feel for these players and the manager, as much as, like, going by the result today, how must it feel that they're trying to do something on the pitch, yet this board is trying to do what they're doing and literally run this club of ours into the ground? I mean, that is, he's put there. It is literally a disgrace. Yeah, and this is what they do. This is the scaremongering tactics that they always do, mate. Announcing we need to sell. That really puts the shit amongst the pigeons, basically, by saying things like that. And look, I think most of us know that there's a fair chance if we don't get it right, we're going down. And we know full well today, and it was a big if we could get anything out of this game, this was would leap us over Forest. They've got their game tomorrow against Brighton. Can they get anything out of it, or can Brighton do us a favour? But we shouldn't be relying on that. We should be doing the jobs ourselves. But I think the crucial game, obviously, now, points makes prizes, and for us, it's got to be that Fulham game. We've got to win that game to keep in the pack, to keep ourselves in there. I mean, not being funny. Got to feel sorry for Burnley. I mean, to get back into that game, to draw 4-4, and then to knock off that goal. And even when you look at it from different angles, and most of you put it in the chat already, if you could take that long to make a decision with VAR, then basically you should give the benefit of the doubt and the goal stands, especially when you've got less than a minute to go. But now they're only a couple of they're only not that far behind us. Can they do anything? They've got a bit of hope now, and they've got to look at their opening that we're now going to falter. So possibly that they overtake us, and that'd be worrying if it did get to that stage. But we've still got to look at the likes of, obviously, Leeds got beat today by Man City, so it's still there. And with these games to go, we've got all these games have got to be maximum points regardless. Good evening, Mandy. Hope you're keeping well. Thanks for coming in as well. Good to see you. Damie's saying they're trying to do it so we're numb to it by the summer. People, and this is the thing, mate. We're not stupid. We're not stupid. We know the score. We know what's going on. They need to sell up and they need to go. That's for sure. Can't have them around here, basically. They've just been a poison. They've just been a poison, and we just got to cut it out and get rid of it. You've had your fun. It's fucking scumbags. Yeah. Destroying our good club. And obviously, just saying hello to them. Colin says, statistically we done well, but we still lost. We conceded 5 goals against a poor Liverpool side. I'm sorry I'm feeling so down, for I know what is coming and I'm feeling about the future. Maybe it's don't take what I'm going to say now, don't take it the wrong way. If we go down, then hopefully it is a blessing in disguise, because then if someone decides they want to come in, could it be the perfect opportunity to get rid of these 2 fucking idiots and get someone in that's who understands the way, understands how a club should be run, and also and bridges the gap between them, the team and the fans, and that's what we can hope for. Not saying it's going to happen. Don't get me wrong. Because we know what this man's like. He's a route that doesn't want to be cut out. Jeff said, agree, Tony, but thought it was a wicked deflection for decisive goal. Pure bad luck it went in. Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing that's cost us today. I mean, like, you know, the scoreline flatters Liverpool, doesn't it, at the end of the day? 5-2. It flatters them. But if you look at it, it's own goals that's really kind of helped them on their way. So I'll make you right what you're saying. And he says, despite financial figures, Clarity who reported a pay rise this year for Brady. Yes, Mandy. So she's now gone up to, she's now earning £18 million a year now. So well done, Miss Brady. You've looked after yourself as always and forget everyone else. So yeah, 18 million she's now going to be getting. Ekin says, as fans, we know our team's limitations. We know the games we could win and the unlucky ones. The thing is that as well, Ekin, you've got to think of, if you look at the games we should have won, and this is where Nuno's definitely got to look at himself, because basically he was the one that literally kind of tore things up. And like I said, for me, the Bournemouth game, 2-0 up, making them changes that as silly as he did. And there's other games we did as well. I mean, and we got caught out. Well, so we got caught out. The referee obviously never favours us, old Cooper. 7 minutes in a game where, you know, 4, 5 tops, that would have made a difference. We would have won that 1-0, 3 points. Yeah, it would have takes a little bit off of the stress levels. Just so we should be 2 down. We got beat today, like always at Anfield, but who honestly expected a win? Draw was the best we could hope for, and that's a great shout, really. At the end of the day, yeah, as I mentioned, you know, 2015 and before that 1963, and I don't know what the other one. I couldn't find the information for that one. Since the 3 games that we've won at Anfield, so now of course I was under no illusion. You'd just like to think the way Liverpool were. Okay, they found a little bit of form that we could have taken advantage of that, considering we were on the up as well. But yeah, look, we can't look at all things. Ekim says the guys didn't do it today, but hope they know we're still behind them. I think they do, because I think the second half, they obviously responded to whatever Nuno has said, because obviously they got a goal back early. Great, you know, good to see Souček getting himself into the area and putting it away nicely and taking advantage of it. And then, of course, Tatty doing what obviously Ekatike did, being on that far post and managed to leap over the likes of Van Dijk, and Alisson had no choice but to kind of flap and punch it when it was already in the back of the net by that stage. So, you know, that was it. But other than that, there was really our kind of best opportunities. But we did have others where you know, players got in the way of each other, not talking. Hey, look, I can't grumble too much. It is Liverpool at home. Just says we just have to win at Fulham, and if we go on Wednesday, then it's starting to panic. Yeah, I think, and you know, the old conscience, it's in the back of your head. You don't want to kind of bring it to the fold, but you know, there's people around you, people you work with, friends, and the event. Well, if this don't happen, this will go on for you. Yeah, not good. Evening, Matty. How we doing, mate? He says, to be honest, and in my opinion, they're vexed about the L, but we did okay. About the loss. I guess in some areas of the park, BS scum, fluff off. Yeah, never known a billionaire to be shit at making money. How we always skint all the time. Well, you remember, you know, a billionaire and a millionaire are rich for one reason alone. Yeah, and if you know, you know. They don't spend their money. They spend other people's money, and they take money. That's how they become billionaires and millionaires, and that's how they stay like it, just for that reason alone. Yeah, as Matt's saying here, we should be called Loan Debt United FC under this little mug. Yeah. Yeah, not good, is it, Matt? His pot's back on Wednesday. Is this the second? Is it a free? I can't remember. Was it a free match ban he got? Or was it just the one game? If it's the one game, then he should be. But I think he might have a couple of more to go. Colin's saying if we lose to Fulham, Tony, I will concede we're relegated. And I think that's the worrying thing. I mean, look, put it this way, Colin, we've got to think about Forest here. Got to think about Spurs. It's still that kind of close. We could still, you know, do something. You never know, mate. Let's try and keep the faith. I think that's the key thing. Matt saying, I ain't that vexed. Sorry, made an error. No worries, mate. No worries at all. I see Ariella starting on Wednesday. I think he will do after this game. Surely will do. Jeff saying 80 million a year, for fuck's sake, whilst parroting how they take nothing out of the club and she gets rewarded for failure. It makes you fucking sick. And mate, that just kind of yeah, you know, it's one of those. Just give me that sword and I'll form Harry Carey. That's the easiest way in that. But you know, you take your money and make sure you can run our club into the ground. Matt saying Ariella should never have been dropped, in my opinion. Donkey decision from Mr. No. Yeah, I think as I already said, Matt, I think this wasn't a game that Manson should have started in. I think he definitely should have been on the bench from Areola just for the experience alone, because he's dealt with these types of games before. Ekim says all this money talk kind of makes sense why Potter did what he did. Well, again, poor management. You've got to think. You know, you've got Lopetegui, you've got Potter still being paid off by us, but it seems to be the trend. Most clubs are doing that with his manager. I mean, look at Amarin at Man United. It's going to cost Man United in the region, I think it's 15, 16 million just to, you know, to pay him off. So it seems to be the trend. Jeff saying, yeah, 3 games for Potts. So yeah, so did he do games? So maybe I don't think he'll be back for the Fulham game. I think I may be wrong. Manny's saying we won't be relegated if we lose to Fulham as Forest play City. What's crucial is that Brighton beat Forest tomorrow, and I think that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, if Brighton can do something, and this is the thing about Brighton, because at the moment they're very, very indifferent, aren't they? This is the problem. We want that Brighton side that can actually do something and put a bit of damage on. Matt says I've turned up late, got to catch up. No worries, my friend. No worries, mate. You know that. Lauren saying we can't keep sniffing 17th. We need to take it before it's too late. And this is the question. We've really got to do something, you know. And okay, look, let's put it this way. You know, Nuno brought some players in January, and that it has made a difference. It seems also, as someone put in the game earlier on, Fulkrug looks like he's going to be coming back. Read into that one, people, what you think about that. But if we do manage to stay up, then that really fucks up Sullivan's plans, because he's suddenly realised now if we stay up, he's now got to start spending money. And this will be the thing for me, you know, is he going to go down the cheap route, or is he kind of trying to speculate to accumulate, sell some of the good players to buy in 2 other players that can replace one player? But we already know the only 2 good players, and I think Michael Blease said it earlier on, the only 2 players that we've actually made a profit on is Declan Rice and Kudos. All right, we've got some money for Paqueta, but we only really made 2, you know, profit on 2 players out of all them players we've bought over the last 4 seasons, and that is dire. And that comes down to who we've been run by. Evening, Darren. Good to see you, mate. He says everything crossed for tomorrow. If results, Tots and Forest go our way, we get a second chance. Touch wood. That's that's all we can hope for. And the main thing is we've got to convert it. In the next game, we've got to convert them into points. Look, Mandy, you said about City, we've also got to play them as well, haven't we? It makes it interesting end of the season. Not good if we're a West Ham fan, because we want to try and stay in this league, and then obviously kind of learn from the mistakes being made, get rid of this fucking board, and hopefully we can push on with the right people looking after it. Words of Pitch says games like today emphasise why not going for it in games like Bournemouth are such a bad decision. It's a good shout. I mean, when you look at the Bournemouth game, we knew, Bournemouth on the up, and to get a draw, is it 2 points, lost, or is it a case of a point deservedly earned? and that's something that used people can answer that as well. And for me, it's a case of the Bournemouth game we possibly could have got sent out of it, but I'm just thinking, I'm just looking at what we've got at the moment, and with the injuries, it's not helping. Evening, Paul. Good to see you as well. If we don't go down in next season after the fire sale, we'll be worse than this season. And this is the thing, isn't it? Because obviously, you're going to see Sullivan be looking at, and we know the ones that's looking in. I mentioned earlier that apparently one of the rumours is that Man United could be interested in getting Bowen for the season, for next season. And if that is the case, that really puts the mockers on it, kind of thing. If we lose him, it cannot be unfair. I don't know if you see it. I mean, there's a couple of mistakes in him today, but the man looks tired. He really does look tired. The worst part about it, do we rest him for the Fulham game, or are we still going to try and stick with him? This is the thing for me. Thank you, Lawrence. Appreciate it as always for the super chat. Tony, great watch along and show. Good to see you back. I still believe in the Great Escape too. Yeah, absolutely, my friend. Come on, you irons. Lawrence, appreciate it, and thank you very much. Very kind of you. And like I said, with the work and that, trying to get things twisted around. Hopefully, I can do quite a few more shows. But yes, I think that's the main thing. We've got to believe that we can still do this. We can still get ourselves out of this shit. Jeff saying, yes, word spot on. Really underlines letting points slip in the games we really could have got something out of, and that's the thing for me as well. Mandy saying Liverpool getting in top gear today. Did we expect to get something there? No, I mean, look, I think as I said, our track record at Anfield is not great. When you look at it, 3 wins out of 63 top flight games with them. That's who they are, isn't it? I mean, but the only thing I'm looking at is this, Mandy. Most people can criticise certain parts of the game, but when you look at a Liverpool side that are renowned for passing the ball around, there was moments, they played some impressive football. They knocked it around and they found players that fell into the pathway of players and stuff like that. I know I saw a channel early on and he's saying, was it right for us to kind of match what Liverpool did? But if we can do that in that game, then we've got to try and carry it on into the next couple of games. And if we can do that, then there's every chance you can get points out of those games. The fact that we can, we're possession-wise, we was on par near enough with Liverpool. Passing-wise, we were near enough on par with Liverpool as well. It's them kind of things you've got to look at. That kind of gives you a bit of optimism that this club can do something. But the worst saying is it's too little too late. He keeps saying, nope, Mandy, yeah, no. Paul Sullivan says, all position open for other teams to slip up. And this is the thing, isn't it? I think, not being funny, when we've been kind of comfortable, when we've been in that kind of 40th upward position, we haven't had to worry about these kind of things. Now we're in this position. It's not a great feeling, is it, Paul? We're hoping around it, but if we had managers that kind of made the right decisions in the first place, we wouldn't be worrying about this at all now. We'll be definitely out of it. Matt's saying, my son said, Daddy, what stadium is that behind the man? I just said home. Poor sod, he was born in 2019. Long live the bowling. Wished I fucked off to Essex, but still a local. Heartbreaking being here. Mate, that great place behind me. Some great memories, wasn't there? I mean, we've all experienced, well, not just great memories, moments. We've seen some shocking games there as well. But you're right what you're saying, Matty. It was home. It was home. We made it as it was a fault. We vocally, no one could beat us in that respects. I mean, a shame. It is a shame. Progress, as they say. Colin says, Tony, I'll still keep the faith, but we need to start getting wins. But we also have to rely on other teams to help us to survive for the future of this club. Depends on it. And this is the thing. I mean, I heard during the week, the likes of us, the likes of Spurs, the likes of Forest. I mean, when you look at it, you've got, when you think about it, and I know there's a lot of people would love to see it happen. But when you see the likes of Spurs that could go down and have a £1 billion stadium in the Championship, yeah, that kind of sums up how this season's gone. But again, it comes down to the same old thing. How it's run, like us, we've got they've got a management that kind of it's all about the pound and pence as well, and they've not exactly got the greatest squad. And we know full well managers they've got in, they've never really backed them. So we can say that Sullivan, in some respects, has backed our managers. It's just the crap that we've bought that hasn't helped us. Jeff says, as long as the teams we need to lose tomorrow, nothing's really changed, but we must win Wednesday. And I think it is a key point, isn't it, Jeff? People in the chat, Wednesday is so crucial, and this is where you got to think that Nuno, Paque, and the boys are focused for this game, because the one thing they can't be doing is let that get on their shoulders, getting into their minds. Because once they start doing that, then I think that's where we could see the reversed effect, and before we're screwed and we lose that game. And Fulham, we know for well they're a very indecisive side, so I like to think they learn from this game today and carry that on into Wednesday, in the fact of using that performance, that little bit of uplift they showed in the second half. If they can carry that in through the next game and carry it all the way through the 90 minutes, then I think we've got a very good chance. Matt says, it doesn't bother me going down. I've seen it all in my 32 years, but being at the LS, my views are different, because remember, world-class, this and that. I'd rather watch non-league football Upton Park than Premier at LS. And, what a great shout, mate. When you look at something like that, most of us is in the chat, me including myself, we've seen us bounce up and down between Div 2, Div 1, and then obviously Championship of the Premier League. And being sold the dream that we'll get Champions League football, you'll be as close as you are, like you're at Upton Park. And then obviously your reality sinks in that apart from Europa, none of the other things were ever going to come to fruition. As it feels like we bottled that on purpose, or am I wrong? I think for me, Matt, all I say is, like today, looking at today's game, it was just that we wasn't clinical in the final third. We was quite poor in that respect. So I think that's, for me, is the main thing. We had some attempts, but we was getting in the way of each other. We was trying to do shots. It was the indecisiveness, getting the ball and that, and then kind of wait, and then try and do a pass. And by that stage, Liverpool have already regrouped, and we can't get anything. We can't play a ball off. We've made too many mistakes. Them kind of things that kind of cost us. I don't know. Did we, use people in the chat think? Ask that question. Do you think we bottled it, or do you think the other thing? Did we kind of show too much respect to Liverpool? There's the other thing you could possibly ask. Lawrence is saying, Matt, I don't think so. Players are making mistakes, but playing hard. Yes, good shout there. Darren says, agree with your tone. That was not a 5-2 game. Poor defending again cost us. What do you think we have to do to defend crosses better? Garlic and wooden crosses, maybe. That's one thing. But I think if you look at it, Matt, these are pro players, These are pro players. And full well, we've all been in this situation where you look at the ball, you look at where the player is, but for some reason, these players are not doing that. We're allowing teams to kind of beat us on areas where you got no one. At one point, you got no one on the posts. You're not picking up the right size man for the right size play. Man for man, size for size, like I used to do with my boys. It's them kind of things you do in there, and the McAllister goal was a clear one. Why was Ekatike free? And this is where, when you look at the keeper, and this is where Hermanson has the problems, because he doesn't doesn't command his box well enough. He's not loud enough. He's not vocal enough. And I think in the second half, there was a point where he could have come out and collected the ball. He was rooted to the spot. He didn't even want to move. And it's things like that, Darren. I think they're the things that's cost us. And when you look at our defenders, it's just positioning wise, man marking, it's shocking. And these are professional players. They should be so much more better. And as Lawrence said, look, mark players properly. That's all you've got to do. Darren also says, do you think 3 at the back should have happened today, Lawrence? Oh, that's an interesting one. Maybe not in that kind of game. In that game, I think. Ekim says, we've got 2 games, 6 points, and back in the mix. And that's what it'll be. I think that's the way we've got to look at it like that. We've got to remain positive. Definitely got to try and do it. Matt says, I hope Spurs go down. Remember Jamie Fake O'Hara 2 things. The sun always goes down, and be careful for what you wish for. Respect King Ange. Mugs. Very true. Very true. Yeah, because I always want to look at other clubs going down. Matt saying, Lawrence, mate, out of all the games at Liverpool, only 1 win, 2015. But fair enough. Respect your opinion, yeah. Ekim says, there are no need. What we needed was another Pablo to worry the defence with Tatty. And that's the thing. That's what I like about Pablo. He does put himself about. He does put a bit of pressure on defenders. And having him out at the moment, it's a loss. Because he may not score goals, but the one thing he does do, he does get himself involved in games. That's the key thing for me. And good. Manny's saying, I don't think we bottled it. I thought we never had the organisation in midfield like we had against other top teams like Chelsea, Man United. Well, that's what I said, Mandy. For me, it's just looking when we did the changes. We haven't got kind of players that can come on and make an impact. That's a weakness. That's a worry in itself, But that's what we've got. We've got to try and do something. As I say, you can't always polish a turd, but we've got to try and do that. Or Nuno's got to try and do that until the end of the season because that's all he's got to work with at the moment. But I think we can all agree, as we said at the beginning of this show, Traore is not the man. That's for sure. Jeff says, world-class team in a world-class stadium was the pitch. Reality, leaky temporary stadium, and we're saddled with debt. Yeah, but the thing is, though, the only thing you can say about that pitch, we win awards for that pitch. That's, apparently we're top of the rankings for the pitch. Sort out the team as well, though. That does help. Yeah, leaky pit. Yeah, leaky stadium. Well, that's our owners for you. Steve's saying, poor set-piece defending again and ineffective down the right. Yeah. I mean, Wan-Bissaka, like I said, considering he got Hammer of the Year, has he emulated from that? I don't think he has. For me, I'd say, Fernandes is probably going to be Hammer of the Year. Been having a great season. But full well his attitude is he'll be like that next season. Whereas, unfortunately, with Wan-Bissaka, we're seeing a bit of an indifference of him. Many saying we look in slow motion first half compared to Liverpool. Yeah, I mean, we were just too slow in certain things at the passing. We held the ball too long. We were looking for things, and we're just allowing Liverpool to regroup, restructure, and it really set us back. Yeah, he keeps saying, agree, could be better. Yeah. The game was won after 40 minutes. I mean, 3-0 down. Could we get something then? But then look at him, Andy. If you refer back to the Burnley game, from them being 3-0 down to draw 3-3, to then kind of see the last minute the goal chalked off a 4-4. It proves you can get something back out of these games, especially against a Liverpool side that is a bit ropey. They're not exactly they're not good under this manager, but we should have capitalised a lot better. But yeah, I mean, look, 3-0 down. Could we get something back in? The second half, I think we started off pretty well, and getting that goal early, I think, made a big difference. We just couldn't capitalise on it. Colin's saying, I've seen us relegated so many times, but this time is different to me because of how our financial situation we're in and what's happened to the squad. And this is the worrying thing, isn't it? At least we had assets back then, Colin. I make you right on that. We had a team that could still do something. We could still get some decent money out of them. Excuse me, but with this, yeah, it is a lot different. I mean, this is the concern. If it does happen, we are royally effed, as they say. Steve saying at least we drew the second half. Yeah, that's true. It's just a shame we couldn't capitalise it even more in there. I don't think we really tested Alisson. I think there's only was it Souček? I think that he had a shot near the end. That was really, but we didn't really test Alisson. He came saying, yeah, Colin, we've been up and down the league more than a yo-yo over the years, but now the cost of a high-performance team worries me. Matt saying, would you play Bowen as a 10? I see fans comment on his legs going, I agree he's lost some pace, but he is the main man. Surely he's knackered. I think someone said, Matt, he's still carrying a knock. So I don't know if that's playing a factor on his game. But yeah, agree. He's not, look, we know full well he will still try and put the effort in. He will still try and do what he can. But considering we haven't got a squad and depth to kind of rest him and bring someone on as a like for like, we haven't got that. We haven't got that quality, and that's where we're lacking. Maybe sometimes that's what we need, but we haven't got it. He keeps saying, Matt, in my opinion, Bowen and Somerville being marked out. Yeah, because they know they're the danger people. I mean, like I said, Somerville today, there were certain times Liverpool 3 to 4 players marking him out. There's no way he was going to get anything out of it. Many saying Pablo will be out for probably 3 more games. And that's a shame, isn't it? It's a shame because you don't mind a worker, Mandy. Don't mind someone that kind of puts himself about in the game. Kim, you need to start playing down the middle. We keep going down the wings and the upper double up on Bowen and Somerville. Yeah, we try and utilise that, mix it up, be a little bit different, a bit predictable. He came to Bowen should have scored from Alisson. Yeah, I mean, I think he realised himself, and this is where I think that he doesn't. That is not helping him as well because that you've got to remember players are human beings at the end of the day. They still have feelings. They still kind of have pressures, and when you have something like that, especially with what you're saying there, Kim, should definitely have utilised on that, but unfortunately, we didn't get that luxury. Jeff saying, despite high detractors, we really miss Pablo. He does need to add goals to his game, though. I think that's the one thing. And don't get me wrong, Jeff, he's still young, isn't he, when you think about it? So it's what we can do with him. But I think with this, his work rate, you can't fault him. He's good at holding the ball up. He's good at trying to bring the team into play. And that's something we haven't seen for a while. So hopefully with that, the injuries, over and done with soon, and we can have him back quickly. Kim says, yeah, Matt, need another plan for sure. And Matt saying, against Fulham, 4-4-2, Titties and Wilson. I mean, do you feel that if Wilson came on, because obviously, didn't even feature, he could have made a bit of a difference today? Could he kind of, would he have done something in the game? Who knows? Who knows in that one? Jeff saying he'd be good in the Championship. Be interesting on that one. Just for, let me see if I can share this one, because this is one I wanted to talk about a little bit as well. Manny saying, yeah, Tony Wilson would have scored 4 goals. I mean, look, he would have, at least he tried. He put himself about. And games like this, I think he kind of more likely could relish. Who knows? Let me just see if I can share this. Bear with me, people, because this is an interesting one. This is also part of the money situation. So I just want to talk about this one. So it's saying about here, obviously, the Court of Appeal has ordered West Ham to pay an extra 3.6 million to the London Stadium owners. And this was made by a Court of Appeal decision on Monday, February the 23rd. So the disagreement apparently is centred on the calculation of a stadium premium amount linked to shares that was under a 2013 concessionaire agreement. So E20 argued it was entitled to a larger share of proceeds from the sale of shares by West Ham's relevant shareholders. So it's saying in 2021, Daniel Kredinsky's investment group, 1890s Holdings, acquired a 27% stake in West Ham, where he purchased 187 shares at around £138,000 each. So the Court of Appeal found that 1890s Holdings received a call option to buy an additional 1,022 shares from David Sullivan for £282 million in exchange for an £18 million premium. That option was never exercised, but David Sullivan, here's the shock, but David Sullivan kept that premium. Both companies agreed that the 187 share sale triggered a payment of £2,532,541.65 to E20 under the original agreement. E20, however, argued that the £80 million premium should also factor into the stadium premium calculation, which increases the total amount owed to £6,132,541.65 plus interest. So an expert determined in February 23 that the higher sum was correct. West Ham then took the case to court, where Deputy High Court Judge Paul Matthews Casey ruled that the expert had fell into error and that only the lower premium was payable. E20 appealed the decision in November last year, and in his ruling, Lord Justice Phillips said the expert's decision cannot be said to be obviously wrong and was not, in my judgment, manifestly in error. Excuse me. So, that kind of just tells you. I had to talk about the other bits there as well. 4 goals. Think about that, people. Kim, for sure, we need to focus and get the solution. Unbelievable. Lawrence is saying the game was over. No, to bring Wilson on. Yeah, I suppose that's a fair shout. Jeff saying, thank God you're on, Tony. The missus is giggling at some geezer getting lifted up by his ears and nipples. By his ears and nipples. What the hell, man? Maybe that's another show, Jeff. Matt says, last one for me. Going to go walk Noble. Fulham away 3 points. City, fuck all. Villa, 1 point. Well, look what Wolves did. Should have started with Wilson, to be honest, Jeff is saying. Matt says, LV and respect, or I'm off. Love and respect. Matt, thanks for coming in, mate. Always appreciated it. Come on, you irons. We are the Claret and Blue Army. Superb, my friend. Thank you very much. I'll take that, Matt. Absolutely. Yeah, Lawrence, top man. Oh, sorry, let's go back to that. Matt, you missed Brentford. Darren saying, yeah, another 3.6 million down the tube. There goes our summer transfer budget. Also, the 300,000 we were ridiculously fined for that Chelsea ruck doesn't help. Yeah, I mean, that as well, and so that's another lot of money going out. Maybe 3 from Villa. They're a roller coaster. Yeah, very true. Matt's saying, yeah, he came. That's FA Cup, mate. Don't know what BGT is coming to. That's the new thing, isn't it? Jesus, man. He gave me how silly me. Aces, Jeff on about Britain's Got Talent. Yeah, I ain't watching that. That's doing that shit. Steve says, can't afford to pay £6 million premiums when part-time baronesses are being paid 80 million. Yeah, but it's the fact, Steve, that Sullivan kept the premium. That's the thing, you know. Kretinsky paid this amount of money and he kept the premium. You know, he said, must go to Specsavers. No worries. What else is added on to that? Let's see now. London Stadium spokesman said, we are pleased by today's decision, which reinstates the original finding that the London Stadium should be paid the 3.6 million plus costs and interest owed to it by West Ham Holdings Limited. We have a responsibility to the taxpayer to recover all funds that are due. We've always been confident in the strength of our case. This has been a long legal process with the expert determination made in our favour 3 years ago, and this unanimous judgment from 3 appeal court judges should be the time to draw a line under the matter. We want to move forward with meaningful collaboration, so the focus could be on the future and showcasing London at its best, including delivering the remainder of the football season and a fantastic summer of events in this outstanding and world-class multi-use venue. Well, do the fucking place up first of all. That's for one. West Ham said in a statement to the affiliate, West Ham and the London Stadium sought clarification from an independent expert as to a payment due under the concession agreement. The determination by such expert was, in West Ham United's view, made in error. The matter was referred to the High Court, and the judge agreed with West Ham that the expert's determination was wrong. The stadium challenged the High Court decision, and the Court of Appeal decided that the expert's determination was not so flawed that it justified a court intervening to overturn the decision. West Ham United have sought leave to appeal, so we'll not be making further comment at this time. So even though they got it bloody wrong, they are still wanting to appeal because they don't want to pay out this money. Oh, man. Make of that one. Make of that one. Manny says, yeah, we're also £100 million in debt, and Sully borrowed that money to the club for transfers. Is he getting interest from that huge debt? No doubt, Mandy, he is, or would not be surprised in that in the slightest, because knowing this man, you don't be in business for that long and become a millionaire without knowing the ins and outs of a duck's arse. And if you do this, does it work in your favour of this? Or if we do that, it's going to cost us. But this at the moment, yeah, he's getting on a bit, so maybe he's a bit senile. But whatever way you look at it, yeah. And as Steve said, yeah, in effect, yes, Mandy, the debt includes interest owed. And going by what the E20 is saying there, we've still got to pay that. But in fact, we're going to try and appeal something where we know we should be paying them the right money. Jeff saying, yeah, so Sully is appealing the appeal. But never mind, this club ain't run like a circus no more. Yeah, exactly, Jeff. That says it all. They're going to bomb us. Oh, man, it's not good, is it? Not good at all. And, yeah. And I just thought I could put this one on there because obviously it's good to see these two twats. Let me just find this one as well. We just discussed this last one before we drop off. Where is it now? Bear with me, people. Share that one there. And that's this one. So David Sullivan and Karen Brady facing incredible pressure to resign at West Ham. I mean, look at them. Look. Just look at the picture they've put in there. She's defiant to the end, as if, like, she has got no interest at all why she wants to be there. Look at that face. Her face like a slapped arse, and him just looks like, he just looks fucking lost. But yeah, as it mentions here, it's saying about West Ham fans ramping up the pressure to make these two resign from their roles. And this is coming from the ex-Everton, Aston Villa and Aberdeen chief executive, Keith Wyness, who says that, at least the fans are doing their part. But I doubt very much we're going to see anything going on there. He's saying that there's real scrutiny and pressure on Sullivan and Brady right now. Thinks all three clubs in the Premier League relegation battle currently have problems. No shit. The fan pressure is incredible on both her and David Sullivan. A lot of rumours about David Sullivan and social media right now about different issues off the pitch. And so, look, there's no doubt there is real scrutiny and pressure on West Ham. Cameron Brady's right-hand person left just a couple of months ago. So it's almost as though behind the scenes there is a real issue in terms of the leadership at West Ham. Yet Nuno is keeping it together on the pitch for them and managing to put together some momentum. But there's no doubt there are problems there. There's problems at Spurs and there's problems at Oxford Forest. So, and that's where I'm going to kind of go too much into that because obviously, we're only winding us up and we're trying to enjoy the rest of the evening. Many saying, so Tony, if we survive, what happens next year with that debt relating to transfers? Well, the biggest problem I think we've got with this, Mandy, this will be ongoing for several years because obviously one thing, we don't own the stadium. Basically, when you think about it, considering from merchandise and the season ticket sales, that literally pays for the rent of the stadium for the year. So all the other games, home games that we have there, in certain respects, should be profit. But because obviously he's loaned money for buying players and other bits and pieces, anything we're making, no doubt, is paying off that debt. And this is the biggest problem, and that's where it's never decreasing circles. If you look at Man United, for instance, the Glazers, when they bought Man United, I think it was 880 odd million, I think, something like that. The first thing they did was, it's not our money. We were going to put the debt back onto Man United, because they knew that the model what Man United was at the time, it will recoup that money back. And don't get me wrong, they haven't paid it off. They're still paying that money. And I think the Glazers have been in, what's that, 15 years or so. But we're not seeing that from her, because we don't own the stadium, and any assets we've got are very little. And obviously, the only other kind of main kind of actual value assets are our players, or the good players anyway, which isn't much. Special likes people. Thanks, Lawrence. And yeah, if you can, if you're in there, if you have not done it already, just give it a little tickle. It doesn't cost you nothing to do that. Colin said, we need to take over the end of this season. We need either Middle Eastern or someone like a Jeff Bezos, because they'll have to take on the debt as well. I mean, for me, it's all gone quiet from that side of it and that, but who knows? We may see the likes of Amanda Staveley kind of rear her head again. We can only hope. We can only hope in that. Ekim says, a lot of millionaires use debt from the banks to their good, like Elon Musk, but then Sully ain't no Musk. That's very true. Mandy, yeah, but they reflected that with the price, yeah. I mean, going on to that, I mean, I don't know if you've seen people. Netflix were going to buy Warner Brothers for the sum of 82 billion. And then, of course, you had Paramount also bidding for Netflix. And it turns out that Netflix won the war. Then Paramount up the ante, tried to do a hostile takeover. The Warner board still wanted to go with Netflix. And then out of the blue, Paramount have suddenly gone, we'll now pay $31 a share. And the Warner Brother board have gone, that sounds a lot better. So now it seems that Warner Brothers have won the battle. Netflix is pulling out, and Paramount will be buying Warner Brothers for, I think, about $111 billion. But the problem is, the owners of Paramount, Skydance, they haven't got the money. They haven't got all the money. They've got to kind of go to the banks, cap in hand, borrow shitloads of money. The Levinson, he's got to go to his old man, borrow money from him. And of course, they're friends with Trump. So who knows? And that's the same with us with this as well, Mandy. You know, like everything else, banks are the same. They always have debt. It's just the way they run the debt. The debt will be deducted from valuation. Well, there's still running costs. There's still wages. So that's the thing that runs up everything else. One thing is that side of things. When you think about it, you know, the E20 that own the stadium, they do all the bars, the food outlets and stuff like that. You know, they pay for the stewards, the policing. So we don't really pay much for it, and that's why we're paying rent for, you know, in certain respects, rent free. Jeff says, look what they did to Birmingham. They're only just emerging from out of their cloud. This is just the beginning of years of turmoil, Theo. How do they get away with it? Due diligence, as they say at the time there, Jeff, because obviously it was a lot different back then. So they could get away with doing certain things and there was no kind of scrutiny. Now, come next season, you've got this new structure coming in. And it goes on to the financial abilities and stuff like this. So clubs like us will be found out. So hopefully there. But yeah, back in the day they could do so many things and get away with it because there was no kind of no scrutiny, no kind of business acumen. You could have done so many things. It's obviously improved over the years. Manny's saying, if we have a few assets, Tony, how can Sully value the club at 800 million? Well, I think if you look at it, even though they rent the thing, they still have certain parts. It's all the trophies and all the silverware and all other memorabilia. And he's a businessman, Mandy. He's going to come up with a figure. I mean, when you think about it, it's actually gone down in price because I think he valued us over £1 billion at one point. So who's going to buy that? Big up, Mr. Latvian Gooner. How are we doing, sir? Good to see you as well. Thanks for coming in. Hope you're keeping well. Well, you've seen it today, sir. You've seen that City have closed that gap yet again to you guys. Squeaky bum time or not? Let me know how you feel about that one. Good evening to a West Ham old man as well. West Ham would not be where they are now without this ownership. Sullivan's advisor. Interesting one. Very interesting. Ekim saying, cheers all. Great show, Tony. Catch you all later. Thank you very much for that. I will be wrapping up anyway myself because obviously I've got work in the morning time, so I need to kind of do the final bits and pieces. But yeah, thanks for coming in, Ekim. Really appreciate that being there. So yeah, I mean, we'll start to wrap the things for this show. Let's just kind of recap. So basically, yeah, look, we knew it would have been a hard mountain to climb to get anything out of this game. A point would have been a great result for us, and the only thing that's let us down is the kind of defensive mistakes. We've got an ownership that don't really give a monkeys, and obviously when you look at it, announcing the debt and saying we've got to sell players, that's just kind of scaremongering, and it's just that kind of power trip that they want. They just want to kind of put people's minds into anger and and get peed off even more. It seems to be something that these two love to do for some particular reason. Why, I don't know. Because at the end of the day, and that we helped keep that club, keep our club what it is. Let me say no, it is. I fully expect City to win game in hand. They have so currently. They are 1 point ahead in my mind. Yes, not good, is it? Not good. And yeah, we've got to play them still as well. Good evening, Adama. Good to see you. Baldy, just want to say I respect you greatly and missed you. My health issues have hampered my involvement in YouTube. I'm sorry to hear that, my friend. I hope it's not too serious. And if it is, I'm really sorry to hear that, mate. Hope you're doing well though, and happy life. That's the main thing for you, mate. I'm just pleased that you've shown your face in here as well. But yeah, miss you as well, mate. Because obviously, I love the comments. But no, I didn't realise you had health issues, and hopefully nothing too serious, my friend. Hope nothing too serious. Latvian Gunner said, going to Etihad mid-April might be the end. Yes, there is that to it. There is that to it as well. But people in the chat, there's 30 of you in here. Thank you for hanging around for an hour and 12 minutes with me. Really appreciate that. Hendon, good evening as well. And all watching. Yeah, you've come in at the last minute as I'm just going to wrap it up. But I appreciate you coming in, Hendon. Really, do appreciate that. If you haven't already, just make sure you hit the like button on the way out. If you're new, hit the subscribe button. Does all help in that. And depending tomorrow, I may even try and get a show on for tomorrow as well. Big up to SBO as well. Leeds United 0-1, Manchester 1. But before this game, Leeds United 3-2, Liverpool. So even Liverpool struggle against Leeds United away game. Wolves 2-2, Wolves 0, Man City 2. Big up to you as well. Thanks for coming in, mate. And you're making it interesting come the end of this season. You're definitely making it interesting. And long may that carry into this, to the end. That's what we need. Us on the other end, we're crying out for points. We need them anyway. But thank you for coming in. Really appreciate it. Come on, you irons. Lawrence is saying there. Jeff saying, great show, Tony and Chaz. Thank you for coming in. Steve saying, cheers, Tony, in the chat. Cheers, all. Thanks for being with us. And as always, just be signing out. We just got to do the same old thing. It's a long old climb. We've got to hope that we can just get something out of Wednesday. Get something out of Wednesday. It gives us hope. And as you know, it's the hope that kind of kills you, but hopefully for the good reasons. Enjoy the rest of your evening, people, and that. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And if I don't see you before then, have a great week as well. But finally, come on, you irons, and let's see what we can do for these boys. Come on there. Good night, all. Take it easy. Look after yourselves.